I worked in welfare to work programs, and I was a counselor for people who were living on welfare, and ultimately I worked in a program for battered women. So I decided to go to business school because I realized working with people one by one by one was personally satisfying, but also frustrating, because I wanted to change the system. And it was in business school I discovered this thing called public finance, the use of capital to finance nonprofits like hospitals and universities, and to finance municipalities. And I ended up interning at an investment bank. I ended up working there full time. And then I left and I went to the other side. And I worked with a nonprofit agency called the Juvenile Protective Association. There I was the CFO. But in a little agency with a $2 million budget, you get great experience because I did everything from, the petty cash and bookkeeping, which I'd had no clue how to do because business school teaches you how to read a financial statement. It doesn't teach you how to make one. And I did everything all the way up to, of course, working with the auditors and all the financial contracting. And I got such amazing experience out of being a line manager at that nonprofit. And then one day I got a phone call. Would I like to go talk to the president of the MacArthur Foundation? And it didn't take a lot for me to think that might be a good idea. But honestly, even there, I had no idea what a program-related investment or an impact investment was because the field was still so new. So I'm very lucky because I came to one of the, probably you could count on your hand, maybe 3 or 4 foundations in the whole world that were experimenting with it. I grew up in a community in the south side of Chicago in a family that had deep roots in thinking about issues of urban development. I lived there, grew up at a time when there was a lot of upheaval. I grew up in a family with a grandfather who had actually come as an immigrant and lived for a period of time at what's called Hull House. And that really is the origin of our country's modern social service practice. He was part of a community of people that really gave us the modern nonprofit world and the whole concept of professional social service, where we moved away from the notion of charity as something you did because you were sort of supposed to do it, to the idea that we could make change in our communities. I trace it all the way back to my grandfather because it's kind of in the DNA. What you can pick up on is a theme that I was always interested in combinations that, again, women's history was brand new in the 1980s. So combinations that were a little bit maybe surprising or looking for ways to bring a lens to something that was different. And I think impact investing is in some ways one of those intersections where you're bringing finance together with social good.